Hey everyone, hope you are having a great day. Welcome to Firewall Analyzer Free Training Part 1. Alright, a brief introduction about myself. Hey everyone, I'm Vikram, subject matter expert in enterprise security management, and I'll be your presenter for today. Let us straight away jump into the agenda for the day. So first, we'll be looking at a typical network infrastructure and why firewalls play a critical role in network security. Second, we'll look at a more important question in hand, that is, why should a security admin use Firewall Analyzer? And from here on, we'll be looking at how to fetch the rules and configuration from your firewall device to Firewall Analyzer. And further, after fetching the rules and configurations, we'll have a look at the rule management capabilities of Firewall Analyzer, followed by its configuration monitoring and backup capabilities. And finally, we'll also be looking at compliance reports and audit reports. Right. So as discussed before, let us look at a typical network infrastructure as seen on the screen. So a typical network infrastructure consists of a router which connects to the internet and cloud. You have your WAN, your LAN, and also multiple endpoint devices which connects to the WAN and LAN. And in addition to that, you also have various types of on-premise servers, including your Active Directory server, which manages permissions and accesses to network resources, etc. And last but not the least, you have the gatekeeper to all of these network devices, which would be your firewall. So hackers can generally get into any of these devices through your network, and all ManageEngine products have the capability to monitor and report on all of these network devices. However, today we'll be specifically looking at firewalls. So why firewall devices? Because firewall is the heart of security in an enterprise network. And once a hacker gets into the heart, that is your firewall device, he or she will have unlimited access to your entire network. Why Firewall Analyzer? So let us look at a more specific question in hand. That is, what are the major reasons for a firewall device to be at risk, and also why Firewall Analyzer? So Gartner predicts that 99% of the exploited vulnerabilities will continue to be the ones known by security and IT professionals for at least 1 year. So firewall misconfigurations, and specifically the known misconfigurations, are the issue. And hence, it is critical to identify and fix your firewall misconfigurations on time. With hackers working around the clock to breach your networks, it's essential to ensure that your firewall rules are spot on. Outdated firewall rules can be easily exploited by hackers to get into your network and compromise your data. Third, security admins are in a constant state of tug of war with the hackers. And to win this war, network admins are constantly installing new security devices. And on the other hand, hackers are always inventing new ways to get around these systems. But merely installing network security devices is of no use. And let's not simply stop with monitoring, but also in implementing a monitoring combined with a quick remediation solution, which will be the key for the admins to win this tug of war. And finally, regulatory mandates. They not only ensure your regulatory compliance, but they also will help in ensuring they will also help in covering your common security loopholes. Introducing Firewall Analyzer, a policy management and configuration reporting software, which helps you in managing and optimizing your firewall rules using its rule management module. And using its configuration monitoring and backup module, it helps you to identify who made what changes to your configuration. And not only that, it also helps you in taking a backup of your configuration in case of a network disaster. And then you have its log analysis module that helps you to track your security and traffic logs. And fourth, you have the alarm management, which helps you to notify as and when attacks and bandwidth anomalies are detected in your network. And finally, you have compliance management, which helps you to identify your firewall misconfigurations and also helps you to generate complaints or standards reports. Now that we got a brief on the capabilities of Firewall Analyzer, let us jump straight in on how to fetch the rules and configurations from your firewall device to Firewall Analyzer. Step 1 is to configure your firewall device to generate syslogs at UDP port 1514. This would act as the listener port for your Firewall Analyzer software. And once you do this, you can perform log analysis and alarm management in Firewall Analyzer software. The second step would be that once you receive the syslogs from your firewall device to Firewall Analyzer software, credential profile can be set for those specific firewall devices in the software. So once you do this, you get access to the inventory reports. So these are specific reports that are catered to the individual firewall devices. So step 1 and 2 will be discussed in depth in the next session, which is happening on 4th of June, which is 1 week from now. And in today's session, once you set the credential profile in this step, second step, you now have to fetch the rules and configurations of your firewall device and add this device to the device rule. So once you do this, you get access to rule management reports, configuration monitoring reports, and finally compliance management reports. All right, so let us get started with how to fetch firewall rules and configurations. In Firewall Analyzer, there are two methods by which you can do this. And the first one would be to fetch the rules and configurations from your firewall using the CLI or API protocol. The second method would be discussed in the next slide. So the CLI and API fetching is currently available for a select firewall vendors, and we'll share this list with you towards the end of this presentation. If not, you can directly Google this by searching for Firewall Analyzer supported devices, and you will be taken to a web page where we have all the features and all the vendors that we are currently supporting them for. All right. So on your screen, you can see a sample screenshot of how to add the device info. And to your left is the CLI option of firewall device. And over here, we have taken the case of a Cisco firewall. And to your right is the Firewall Analyzer's product UI. So these are the information that we have entered to add a firewall device to device rule. And to do this from the screenshot, you can understand that you'll need the username, password, and several other informations, which I'll be showing you in the demonstration. Right. So for the demo, I'm taking you to the product UI. So here I have this configured. All right. So right, to show you how the device can be added to device rule, you go to settings, and over firewall server, you click on credentials. All right. So look at it, we already have added multiple devices, and the status of those additions can be checked over here. So in order to add a new device rule, you simply have to click on add, and over here you'll have to choose your firewall device, and then you select the option by which you want to add. And it can be CLI, API, or file, which would be the second method I'll discuss shortly. And if you already have a credential profile, you can choose that over here. If not, you can enter all of the primary and additional information over here and click on validate. And once your credentials match with your firewall device, it will automatically get added as a device. All right, so these are the inputs that are required for API. All right, so this is the first step of adding your device to the device rule. So next we have a second method of addition, and this would require you to directly upload the rules and configurations of your firewall device. So for this, first you will have to export the configuration file and the rule file from your firewall device, and then you will have to create the rule file manually. That is, this is the file that you will be importing into Firewall Analyzer. So this is nothing but a text file where each rule is listed in a single line in a respective order, and each rule needs to be separated by a comma. So once you have these two files, which is the rule file and the configuration file, you can directly import these two files to the Firewall Analyzer software and add the device to the device rule. And this feature also works if you simply add either of these two files. It can either be a rule file or it can also be a configuration file. But for best purposes, it's better to have both of these files. So to show that to you in working, I'm taking you back to the product. And over here in the same window that I've shown you previously, you choose the third option, which would be the file option. And here you have the rule file and the configuration file import option. And if you want to look at the format in which we support, simply hover over the question mark and you can get that information. So for this purpose, I'm going to upload a sample file, and this would be my sample file, and I hit import. Right, so here you can see the status of the device which I'm trying to add to the device rule, and once it has been validated, it goes into its it shows you the status of it, which is a success. All right, so in addition to these two popular methods, we also have introduced a new method, which would be the manual device addition. And this, how does it differ from the other two? Unlike the other two options, this does not require syslogs to be forwarded from your firewall device to Firewall Analyzer. So then how do you add the device to the device rule? So this is done by directly entering the device name and its IP address in the add device manually option. So why do we have this method? This is popularly used by auditors and managed service providers to provide the who are providing the managed security services, that is their firewall managed services to their clients, because it can be a hassle if they have to import syslogs of multiple clients, which could take a hit on the processing speed of the computer that the firewall analyzer is run. So to minimize that and to overcome all of the other shortcomings, they are using this option, which can quickly get them the required reports, which would be the rule and complaints management features. All right, so let me quickly take you to the product to show that to you in working. To access this feature, go to settings, go to discovery and click on add device. And over here, you hover over the third option and click on it. And over here, you can choose between the device type, the vendor name, enter the IP address and device name. So in case you want to monitor and get the other features of Firewall Analyzer software as well, which is the syslog based reports, you'll have to check this box. And again, you'll have to add this device to the device rule using the methods that I've shown you previously, CLI, API, or file. So if you want to monitor its other features as well, other reports, get the other reports as well, you can simply check this box and enter the details. You don't have to go over here and do over the old procedures. All right. So once you fetch the rules and configurations from the firewall device, you get access to 3 reports. So the first of that would be the rule management report and the configuration management report, and finally the security audit and compliance reports. All right, so to explain all of the features of Firewall Analyzer, we are gonna introduce a new admin who goes by the name Jim. And let us assume that Jim has joined a company, and this company has been facing a lot of network security issues. And to overcome all of these issues, they have hired Jim and they have tasked him with a series of tasks. So his task list include optimizing firewall policies and rules, and to track the changes made to the firewall configuration and to take a backup, and finally to submit a detailed compliance and security audit report. So let us look at what are the challenges faced by Jim and how he overcomes these challenges using Firewall Analyzer. All right, so let us look at the first use case for Jim. And the first one would be to optimize firewall performance. So to do this, Jim is facing the following challenges, which is firstly, Jim is new to the company, which means he does not have the required visibility to understand all of the rules and how they are structured. And also it is a pretty old company, and there are nearly more than 1,000 rules for him to review. And without the visibility into all of the rules that are currently available in this company, which it becomes an extremely difficult process to complete. And also, since it is a very old company, they have the issue of the rules that have not been reviewed right from day one. And because of this, there are a lot of duplicate and unused rules. Also, more than one network security admin has written these rules, and hence these rules are highly unoptimized. Not only this, as I mentioned earlier, the company has more than 1,000 rules, and hence any new rule that Jim is trying to add might impact the existing rule set in a negative manner. And finally, last but not the least, there are not one, there are not two, but over 5 firewalls in Jim's new company. And every time he needs to write a rule and analyze the impact of making the changes, and he has to do all of this manually across all 5 firewalls. So these are the challenges that are faced by Jim. So let us look at how Firewall Analyzer and its rule management module can help Jim to optimize the firewall rules and overcome all of these hurdles. All right. So first, we're going to look at the rule management's #1 report, which would be the policy overview report. So this report gives you visibility into all the rules that have been currently written and running on any of the firewalls that are configured to Firewall Analyzer. And this feature allows one to filter the rules according to the allowed and denied rules, inbound and outbound rules, inactive rules, logging disabled rules, any-to-any overly permissive rules. And you can also download and analyze the list of these rules. So by using this feature, Jim now gets visibility into the complete list of rules that are currently configured to his firewall. So let me take you to the product UI to show that to you in working. All right, so to access this, you'll have to go to Rule Management and click on Overview. Right, so under Rule Management, you click on Overview and you arrive at this screen. And again, once again, you can view this report for multiple firewalls. And in my case, I am using my FortiGate firewall that I have configured for this purpose. All right. Right, so here you can see all the rules that are listed under the total rules section. And here you can view a detailed information on all the rules that are present on your firewall. So to do that, simply click on it. And with this, Jim will get a clear understanding of all the rules and how they are split into allowed rules, denied rules, say inactive rules, and all of those information. And all of this is available to him at the click of a button. So in addition to a general summary, you can also look at the security rules that are available, and also take a look at the object details, and finally the NAT rules. So in case you want to have all of these exported out in the form of a PDF, XLS, or CSV, you have that option over here as well. And in case you want to have it sent to you on an email, you can click on the email icon, enter the email address, subject message, and you can hit on send. And you have multiple formats in which you can receive this particular email. However, if you want to have this scheduled, sent it to you on a repetitive basis, simply hit add, and over here fill in the email address, and here you schedule the repetitive time frame and hit on save, and you will get this report sent out to you on a repetitive basis. All right, so going back to the deck. So now that Jim has solved the visibility issue, he now has to address the second issue. So as mentioned before, the rules have been written by multiple security admins, and these have not been reviewed for over a very long period of time. So because of this, there are a lot of anomalous rules and also overly permissive rules which affect the performance of the firewall. With Firewall Analyzer, you can rectify the anomalies in the firewall policies, reduce overly permissive rules, and also fine-tune your existing rules. So let us quickly jump to the policy optimization report in the product UI and see how this helps. So for this, I'm taking you back to the product, and to view this report, simply click Rule Management and Optimization option. All right, so under optimization, you can clearly see the various anomalies. You can see the rule suggestions, policy fine-tuning, object usage, and duplicate objects. So before we look at all of that, let me introduce you to our online demo tool, which would be demo.fwanalyzer.com. You can even arrive at this by Googling Firewall Analyzer space online demo. All right, so once you arrive at that, you have a free running setup where you can simply log in and check all the features that I am currently demonstrating to you. And in case you have any questions or you need more clarifications on any of the said features, you can talk to our panelist who is on board with us at this session, and they'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. Right. So that being said and done, I'm taking you back to our presentation. So under optimization here, you have a clear policy anomaly demonstrated over here. And once again, this is device specific. So what you're viewing is for a specific firewall, and you can see all the anomalies that are classified over here. So I'll be running you through all of the features shortly. So before that, let me take you back to the deck and show you what we mean by anomalies. So Firewall Analyzer identifies the following rule anomalies, and this includes shadow, redundancy, generalization, correlation, and grouping. So in this slide, we have given a detailed example of all the anomalies that are detected by our tool, and we'll be sharing this presentation with you. So once this training is over, so that you can go through the list of these anomalies and you can understand how and what we have termed each of the anomalies. So you can understand what we call redundancy, what we call grouping, and all of that. So to explain, and all right, so over here you arrive at the optimization window, and here let me take you to the demo, and here you can see all the rules and their anomalies listed over here. So if you want to understand any of these anomalies in detail, simply click on them, and here you will be taken to a table where we tell you why a particular rule has been classified as an anomaly, and what are the subsequent metrics, which would be the destination, source, etc., and all of those information. So for every anomaly, you get a detailed report as to what is the problem, what exactly are the other details of that anomaly, and that is it for policy anomalies. So next, I'm going to explain to you rule suggestion. So with rule suggestion, once again, if you hit generate over here, you'll get something like this. And here you can get a list of all the overly permissive rules which are connected to overly permissive source or destination. With this, you can clearly identify the rules that are overly permissive, and you can take preventive measures to ensure that hackers or attackers do not exploit these overly permissive rules and get into your network. All right, so next I'm gonna go back to the previous window. All right, and I'm gonna hit on policy fine tuning, and I'm going to have this for a time frame of 30 days. All right, so here you can choose a particular rule and hit fine tune, and you will get our suggestions on how to fine tune that particular rule for better optimization, for better performance. and you can also view how it is affecting the existing rule set and how it can be optimized. All right, so following that, I'm going to take you to the duplicate object section, which would be the last of what we're going to discuss under the optimization. So here you can get a list of all the object names that are associated with multiple rules, duplicate object reports, etc. And this is available for both networks and service objects. All right. So finally, we're going to look at object usage. So this tab provides you an overview of the network and service objects that have been used by Firewall, and this is based on the syslogs received for a period of time. So to show you an example, I'm going to click on one of the predefined object usage reports that we have. Excuse me. Right, and I'm going to scroll down, and here you can see the top most used network objects, your least used and most used service objects, likewise unused network and service objects, and all of that is available for your perusal. All right, so going back to the deck. So next we're going to look at the rule reorder report. So with multiple security admins writing rules, these rules are simply not optimally arranged. For example, let's say that a new rule was written, and this rule is taking place at rule number 500, position number 500. But this rule is a frequently used rule, that is, it has a lot of hits. So what happens is every time this rule is triggered, Firewall Analyzer's processor has to go through all other 499 rules that are present in front of it to reach this rule. So what eventually happens is it takes a hit, it takes a toll on Firewall's processing speed. Your Firewall Analyzer software, however, identifies this and lets you know that if you move the rule that is taking a maximum number of hits to a more optimal position, it would increase your performance. So let me show that to you in the product, and for that I'm taking you to rule management, and I'm going to click on reorder. All right, so for the last 30 days for the very same firewall device, which would be my demonstration 40K device, here you can see all the suggestions that are listed over here. So the first one, which means that the rule name 36 from its current position of 10, if it is moved to its new position of number 1, it will have a 24% in performance improvement. So this is not a baseless assumption. We take the hit count into consideration, and since it has the highest hit count, it would only make sense for it to be at the first position. So in addition to suggest changes, you can also view the completed changes over here. And once again, you can download all of this information in the form of multiple reports, which would be the CSV, PDF, and XLS, and also email this in case that is required to be sent to someone else. All right. So after this, we'll also be going through two auxiliary report features, which would be the rule impact and the rule administration features. So the rule impact will help you to check the impact of a new rule, and finally the rule administration feature will help you to push firewall changes directly to your firewall device. So I'll be explaining and demonstrating that in working towards the further course of this session. So let me take you back to the deck. Right. So next I'm going to walk you through the cleanup report, and as I explained, Jim's company is an old company, and there's a possibility that there are a lot of rules which are not used, and hence they are out of place. And these unused rules can be exploited by a skilled hacker to get into your network. With Firewall Analyzer's rule cleanup report, you get a detailed list of all the unused rules, unused objects, unassigned interfaces, and also unassigned objects. So it is recommended that you first deactivate these rules for a short period of time. And once you find that there is no rule impact on your network, the same can be safely removed. This would not only make your network safer, but would also aid in the firewall's processing speed. So let me take you to the product to show that to you in working. And for this, you go to cleanup, which is present under rule management. Cleanup over here. So for the last 30 days, I have generated this data, and here you can see a list of all the unused rules. So once again, as explained, if there are any rules that are outdated and as a result can be used by hackers to get into your network, they have to be quickly addressed and they have to be rectified immediately. Likewise, we also have unused objects, we have unassigned interfaces, we also have unassigned objects. So all of that are classified by the tool and listed out over here so that you don't have to go ahead and look for rules that are unused for a very long period of time. Right, so going back to the deck. Right, so next we're going to look at the rule impact analysis, which is something that I had hinted upon earlier. All right, so why do we need a rule impact analysis? Before you add any rule, it is very difficult to know the type of impact it can have on your existing rule set. However, this feature can help you to directly check the impact of any new that you want to create before adding them to the firewall device itself. So by using this feature, you can minimize any negative impact that can be caused due to any new rule that you are creating. With the firewall analyzer's rule impact analysis, you can easily determine if the proposed new rule is going to impact the existing rule set negatively. And this feature helps you to check the proposed new rule against the existing rule base for any anomalies. It suggests an optimal rule order by analyzing the proposed new rule for any rule complexity and anomalies. And it also helps you to identify any overly permissive destination interfaces for the proposed new rule. And it also helps you to detect and report on services, applications, and interface level threats. It singles out blacklisted IP addresses that are mistakenly used in your newly proposed rule. It also provides a risk assessment for relevant service, application, and interface ports. And finally, you also get to view the object repetitiveness in your rule. So let us look at how this report looks like in the product UI. So for that, I'm taking you back to the demo setup. And to access this report, simply go to Rule Management and click on Impact. All right, so let's say that you want to create a new rule impact. That is, you want to create a new rule and check its impact. In that case, simply hit Impact Analysis. And over here, give this new rule a name. Let me call it New Rule 101. And I'm going to fill in all the other information, which includes the position, source, destination, source interface, destination interface, service, and action. So I'm going to select all of that. And in case if I have any blacklisted IPs, I can select this box. And if that is in a text file, I can directly browse and select that and import that over here. And you can also choose the object repetitiveness. So once you're done with that, you hit on Generate Report. And what that does is it takes you to this window and gives you a report that looks more or less like this. So this is a sample report that I had created for the sake of demonstration. And over here, if you scroll down, you can see the rule name, the position, and the source, destination, all the other information. And all right, in the anomaly details here, you can see if there are any anomalies. And over here, you can see the rule reorder suggestions, which helps you to understand if this particular rule can be positioned in a specific order to get a maximum performance, or if any other existing rules have to be moved around so that you can get the maximum performance out of them. And you can also view the overly permissive rules. And this includes any source or any destination-based rules. And you also get the details of any service or application level security threats. Here you have that. You have interface level threats over here. And next, you also get to view any blacklisted IPs that had been mistakenly used in your current rule. And then you can view the risk assessment. And this again is split between the service and application port risk assessment, interface port risk assessment. And finally, you also get to view the list of object repetitiveness. And this is with respect to both the source object, destination object, and source service object and destination object. All right. So before you even write a specific rule, you get a detailed analysis of how this particular rule will impact your firewall. Hence, with this impact analysis feature, Jim can clearly identify the negative interactions even before a specific rule is made live. All right. So with the help of the rule administration feature of Firewall Analyzer, Firewall Analyzer can effectively help network security admins to push changes into their firewall device directly from the tool itself. And this feature allows you to perform 4 major functions. And that includes add, modify, and delete network and service object. It helps you to add, modify, and delete your firewall rules. And it also helps you to analyze the implications of a change, which is again the rule impact analysis. And we have an overlap of that feature built in this feature. And fourth, and finally, you have the option to push any of the changes that you have made in the Firewall Analyzer tool directly to your firewall device itself. So let us look at how this feature looks like in the product UI. And for that, I'm taking you back to the product. And over here under rule management, you click on administration. All right. So here you have 3 tabs where the changes we intend to make are recorded. And this includes your network objects, service objects, and security rules. All right. So once again, all of this information is for the configured firewall device. And in case you want to have this, create a rule and push it to a different firewall device, you can choose that from the list of devices that you have already added to Firewall Analyzer. All right. So here under firewall objects, it represents the existing rules and objects in the select firewall device. And that is at least the ones that are fetched while adding the device rule. And in the local objects here, you can see the changes that you want to make in your particular specific firewall device. And this allows you to make changes, which includes adding a network, so adding, editing, or deleting a network object or service object or security rule. So as you can see, the objects, local objects and firewall objects option is the same for all three features, which would be the network objects, service objects, and your security rules. So once you're chosen what you want to edit or add, let me show you how that can be done. So let me go ahead and make a small edit in the firewall objects. I'm going to simply add an address description. I'm going to click on add. So once I do that, it doesn't mean that this particular rule change has been pushed to the firewall. Obviously, there are multiple steps that we ensure before a rule gets pushed to the firewall device. And the very same process applies to both network objects, service objects, and security objects. All right. So as mentioned before, you also get to view a detailed impact analysis of any rule change that you want to push to your firewall device. All right. So now back to making an edit and pushing it to your firewall. So now that the change that I have made has been moved to local objects, the next step that I'll have to do is I'll have to push it to the next step. So that to do that, I'll have to go to the review and push option. And over here, I'm going to choose CLI, or in my case, I'm going to choose all. And this will show me all the API based and the CLI based change that I am planning to do. So since this is the change that I want to push to my firewall, I'm going to go ahead and select that. And once I do that, I'm going to hit on push. And over here, I am required to enter the credentials of this particular firewall. All right, so once I'm done with that, I'll have to hit on validate. So once the credentials are successfully verified, you are allowed to move on to the next stage. So this is a measure that we have taken to ensure that only people with the credentials of the particular firewall are allowed to push these changes to the firewall device. So once I'm done with that, once the validation is success, I'm going to hit on push. All right, so once I'm done with that, next it moves on to the commit window. So again, commit is an added extra layer of review that we have, which is commit. And here you'll need to validate the push once again to confirm that this rule is ready to be pushed to your select firewall device. And once we commit, the same is recorded in the commit audit for future reference. Also, if there are any changes or edits to the objects in the commit window, you'll simply have to click on the revert option to make all of those changes. And once again, to view the difference between this particular edit and the existing rule set, you simply have to click on view diff, and it will give you the change that you want to make and how it is different from the existing rule set. So the difference will be shown to you in terms of color codes. Green for new additions, orange is modifications, and red would be deletions. All right. So in addition to all of these features, we also have the rule approval section. So which is nothing but an admin level approval screen that is available only for the super admin. So the super admin can enable this option. That is, they can access this option and they can view all the changes that are proposed to go live on your firewall. So the super admin has the ability to give accesses to admins so that they can propose changes, or they can have the access to push these changes to the firewall. And sometimes they can even be given access to do both. So with this feature, you can clearly understand what are the changes that are getting pushed to your firewall. You can view the pending requests, approved requests, and even rejected requests. So all of that is available under the rule approval option. So with this feature, you can effectively push changes directly to your firewall device from Firewall Analyzer itself. Right. So next, we're going to look at the rule comparison feature of Firewall Analyzer. So with this feature, you can compare any two configuration files, and this could be between two offline configuration files, or between a running configuration file and an offline configuration file, or even between two running configuration files. So by using this feature, Jim can clearly identify all the changes that are made to the firewall rules across various configuration files. So let me take you to the product to show you this in working. And to access this feature, simply you go to rule management, and over here you select comparison. All right, so here you can see the newly revamped page of the compliance comparison feature. And over here, you can see all the rule changes that have been made to this particular firewall over a period of 30 days. And this is color coded and listed out over here. So over 30 changes have been made in this particular firewall. This includes 2 new rule additions, 26 modifications, and 2 deletions. So if you scroll down, you can view all of that in various visual formats, and you can even view the changes when, where, and what changes were made. Likewise, next, moving on to comparing your configuration files, I'm going to demonstrate a comparison between a configuration file with the latest running software. So for this, I have already created a configuration file. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to hit on compare. So once I do that, I get a list of all the additions, modifications, and deletions between the file that I have uploaded versus the one that is currently running in the system. All right. So again, these are color coded, and you can quickly identify and understand all of that. And in case you want to download that in various formats, that is available in PDF, Excel, and you can also send that to you or anyone else in the email format. All right, so moving on to the next aspect of rule management, which would be the rule expiry. So any rule after expiring, it has to be rectified and activated or removed. However, most organizations have hundreds of rules and multiple security admins working on these rules, which makes it a nearly impossible task to review and work on these expired rules. Firewall Analyzer's expiry notification feature can help network security admins to track and keep status of all the rules that have expired. So it helps you to get visibility on all the firewall rules for which any kind of schedule has been set, and it helps you to view a list of active rules, upcoming rules, expired rules, and also recurring rules. So let me take you to the product to show you on expiry rules. So to access this feature, simply go to Rule Management and click on Expiry Rules. Right. So here you can see all kind of rules for which a schedule has been set. Here you can see all the rules that are active for which a schedule has been set. And again, you have the upcoming rules where it catalogs all the rules that are scheduled to turn active in the future. Here you can see the expired rules, which records all the rules that have expired. And you can also see the list of rules that are reactivated and certified on a regular basis. And all these given reports can be scheduled on a periodic basis and sent out to you in the form of an email. And in addition to expiry reports, we also have risk, which has been introduced in 12.7 onwards. In case you're using an older version, I would recommend you to upgrade to our latest version to enjoy all of these features. So this risk analysis report helps you to analyze all of your existing rules that are currently running in your firewall devices and identify any weak rules based on your policy misconfigurations and your overly permissive rules. So this feature allows you to view the summary over here. This gives you an overall information about your firewall device's risky rules. And over here you can see the show by rule. This contains all the risky rule data along with associated risk level count. And here you have the show by risk. It displays all the risk sections that contain the risky rules. So in case you want to exclude any rules from being categorized as a risky rule, you can select the excluded rules and add that particular rule over here and ensure that it doesn't get triggered as a risky rule every time you run this feature. All right, so moving on to the next use case. So now that Jim has reviewed all the rules and made the necessary changes to the firewall rules, let us look at the second task that he's been assigned to work. All right, so one of Jim's employees have left the company, and before he left, he's done some damage to the company in terms of tampering with the firewall's configuration. So the company is keen on preventing this from happening in the future. And to do this, they have asked Jim to check if any of the compliances, any of the configurations have been tampered with. And if they have, they want to know who has made these changes, and they want to know when and what these changes are. And they also want to keep track of all of this by ensuring that all of this gets printed out in the form of a report so that it's easier to keep track of. So let us look at how, by using Firewall Analyzers, change management report, and configuration backup report, Jim can solve this issue. All right. So as mentioned before, the changes made to the firewall configuration has gone unnoticed previously. However, with Firewall Analyzer, let's say the employee who has quit goes by the name James, has made a change to the firewall. All of this gets recorded in Firewall Analyzer software. So Firewall Analyzer not only tracks who made the change, but also it tracks when it was done and what was changed. So let us look at this change management report in the product UI. So taking you back to the product. So to access the report, simply go to Compliance and click on Change Management. All right, so for this demonstration, I'm going to go back to the firewall that I've configured for this purpose, and I'm going to get this data for the 30 days. So we have revamped this page to give it a more dashboard feel and make it easier to gain all the information with a single glance. And this window gives you an idea of not only the configuration changes, but also the rule changes that are made in the firewall over here. Here you can see the rule changes, and configuration changes are listed over here. So if you scroll down, you can see all the configuration changes and who has made these changes and the change IP, the version, discount, and all of those information. So in case you want to view more information about all of the configuration changes, simply hit on this little icon over here and you'll be taken to a window where you can see all the changes that are made to your firewall's configuration. And once again, these are color coded for you to quickly understand and make conclusive decisions. And in case you want to have this report sent out to you, you can download that in multiple formats or even schedule to have that sent out to you. And you also have the notification feature that allows you to configure email notifications or SMS notifications so that anytime an alert or a change happens in this section, an email or an SMS will be sent out to you and you can take respective measures. All right, so moving on, next we're going to look at the configuration backup feature. So with this feature, Jim can easily schedule an automated config backups, and hence any erroneous modifications or faulty modifications or tampering modifications to his current configuration version can be either due to an attack or due to a network disaster or due to employee tampering with it. You can take a backup of all of this and export a copy of the previous version. So let us look at how this feature looks like in the product UI. So for that, I'm taking you back to the product. And to access this feature, simply go to compliance and click on configuration backup. All right, so now that you've arrived at the configuration backup window, here you can see all the schedules. And so these are the regular configuration backup that happens, and you can see these are scheduled to happen every day. However, in case you want to create a configuration backup for varying time frequencies, simply click on add backup configuration, choose the firewall device, give this schedule a name. Give this one a name, and you can choose the schedule option. So here it can either be a daily, weekly, monthly, or you can even have it scheduled once. And you can also have an email sent out to you which says when the configuration is done, so that you will understand that your device is working successfully and that backup configurations are happening on schedule. And you can also view the backup audit, and you can also perform comparison between any of the two backed up configurations. All right, so moving on. So let us proceed to the next use case. And this would be for Jim to submit a detailed compliance and security audit report. So Jim's company needs to be compliant with multiple security standards, but they are failing short with a lot of them. And this has affected them so much that they have started losing customers since their compliance is not up to date. And Jim has been assigned a task to submit a detailed compliance report and security audit report every quarter. So let us look at how Firewall Analyzer can help Jim to solve this issue. Firewall Analyzer provides out-of-the-box compliance standard reports, which includes SANS, PCI DSS, NIST, ISO, NERC, and several others. And we are only working towards expanding all of these compliance reports that we support out of the box. So currently, we are in progress of adding the GSMA for network provider. And we're also working on updating our PCI DSS. We're also working on adding CIO and several other compliance reports out of the box. So this helps you to periodically check for complaints and also lets you to assess your firewall security. So let me take you back to the product to show this to you in working. And to view this, you will have to go to compliance and click on standards. And over here, I want all of these data generated for my FortiGate device. So I've chosen that. And here you can see all of the information. So let us assume that the company Jim is working on is a card-based company. So this deals with a lot of financial transaction, and hence it is mandatory to stay compliant with PCI DSS. However, if you look at it, you can see that the company has only complied with around 60% of PCI DSS. And when you click on it, you get a clear understanding as to what are the sections they are failing in. And here you can see the status. The tick represents the sections that you have passed, the cross represents the sections that you have failed, and the star represents the sections that will require the manual intervention. So this could be something like stop your employees from accessing XYZ files or restrict access to your firewall edits. So these are things that require manual intervention of any of the network admins to make do. So let us take an example of a failed section. So I'm going to scroll down and choose this. All right. So here you can clearly see why they have failed in this section. And in addition to simply telling you why you have failed, in addition to explaining the details, Firewall Analyzer also tells you what you can do as in the form of a recommendation, so that there is a chance that this fail gets converted into a pass. Similarly, you can work on other sections as well and ensure that all of these are changed into a pass, so that you stay compliant with the necessary security mandates. All right, so moving on. Right. So next we are going to look at the security audit report, and Firewall Analyzer's security audit reports help you to identify the configuration loopholes in your firewall. So it lists the security events based on criticality, and so it lists how many events are classified as critical, high, medium, low, and also info. So this provides a detailed finding what is the impact on the network, and also suggests solutions, and thus can help prevent security events. So let me take you to the product to show that to you in working. So once again, to access this feature, you go to compliance and you select security audit. All right, so let me take an example of the FortiGate device that I have configured. And over here, you can understand what we mean by security audit, and you can see the summary over here. And you also have details on how to use this report. And that is over here. And here you can see the statistics of what are the results of this assessment. And here you can see that we have around 3 high rated issues, 4 medium, 4 low, and 6 information rated issues. So let me take you to the high rated issue to understand what we mean by that. And before that, you have the contents here, which explains to you briefly on how to understand and use this particular security audit report. All right, so here we have a high rating issue. And as you can see, these are the 3 rules that are affected by this high rating issue. And here you can see a general analysis of what this particular issue is all about. And here you can see a detailed tabular column that highlights the rule name, the source, destination, the service, the from and to, and also the action that has been assigned to this particular rule. And eventually you also arrive at the results of what this particular risk can have on your network security. And also you have a series of suggestions that you can follow to ensure that you pass this particular section, as in you remove this particular high rated issue. So all of that is available for you. And once again, these are downloadable in multiple formats. You have PDF and XLS. You also have the option to send this to you on an email format. And here under all schedules, you can add this as a schedule, so that let's say you want to have this checked out every once a month or once a week. You can simply add schedule, and you can select the firewall device for which you want to get this particular report, enter the email address and the schedule time, click on save, and you will be subscribed to the schedule option, where you'll keep receiving this particular report on a set frequency. So to summarize, Firewall Analyzer is a policy and configuration management tool, and it helps you to identify policy anomalies, which includes unused rules and unused objects, and also lets you to perform in-depth impact analysis and helps you to push policy changes directly into the firewall. Thus, this plays a critical role in optimizing your firewall performance. It also provides out-of-the-box compliance reports for SANS, PCI DSS, NIST, ISO, and several others. It also helps you to monitor your configuration changes and also helps you to schedule configuration backups. Finally, Firewall Analyzer supports all major firewall devices. All right, so next we are going to look at the installation requirements, and listed here are the basic installation requirements that are needed to install Firewall Analyzer in your computer. So Firewall Analyzer can be installed on a Linux or a Windows system, and all the syslogs that are received by the Firewall Analyzer by default is stored in a Postgres database, and if you need, you can even change this to a MS SQL server. The disk space and RAM size mentioned here are the minimum requirement, and the same might vary depending on the number of devices that are being analyzed and the number of devices that are sending log information to Firewall Analyzer. Right. So the following are the prerequisite ports that need to be free and the respective protocols that would need to be used. So on the screen, you can see that we have SSH, TFTP, Telnet, and the default syslog listener port, which is 1514. All right. So next, I would like to iterate that we have a technology partnership with Checkpoint, WatchGuard, and Palo Alto at the moment, and we are only working towards expanding this to include multiple other technology partnership vendors. And currently, we support more than 50 firewall vendors and over 200 firewall devices, and that includes some of the vendors that we have shared on the screen. All right. So Firewall Analyzer currently provides rule management report for the given list of firewalls. So what you see on the screen is just some of the firewalls that support here. However, this list is not restricted to this. This list is very exhaustive. So to view all of these devices and to check if you have a particular you want to know if your device, the device that you're using in your environment, supports all of the features of Firewall Analyzer, I would request you to Google Firewall Analyzer supported devices, and the first search result is what will take you to a page that displays all the firewall devices that we currently support and all the features that we support for each of those firewall devices. So once again, that link will be provided to you over here, and I'll be sharing this PPT with you post this session, and you can have a look at that as well. All right, so we have a lot more exciting topics to cover in the next training session, which is scheduled to happen on 4th of June. And in this session, we'll talk about how to set an alarm notification for your Firewall Analyzer. And it also helps, we'll also discuss on how to get an understanding of the practical applications of how to secure your network by analyzing all the syslog based reports that we generate using the tool. And this includes all the attack virus and other spam and other security reports, and also the traffic based reports. And last but not the least, we'll also talk in depth about monitoring your VPN infrastructure. We'll talk about how to understand your VPN usage, and you can use these reports to plan your VPN capacity, etc. We also have user monitoring reports that helps you to restrict data usage of certain employees who are consuming a large amount of data, and you have all of that under the rule user monitoring. We give you a detailed report of how much data someone has consumed, and you can make informed decisions respectively. And you also have forensic log analysis that helps you to perform raw log based reports, and you can use those to perform in-depth forensic log analysis. Information that we have available online, and this includes our very exhaustive help documents. So you simply Google Firewall Analyzer space help, and you'll be taken to all of our help pages. There you can explore all of our features in detail. And we also have an active and thriving community that is called Pit Stop. So here we have frequent discussions with admins who are engaging with our technicians. And in case you want to write to us, we are available at fwanalyzer-support@manageengine.com, or you can even ring us at the phone number that is displayed on the screen. And we are listed on Capterra. So if you are an existing user or if you are an evaluator and you would like to leave us some of the suggestions on how the tool has helped you, we would be more than happy to listen to it. And to thank you for your reviews, we'll be giving you a $25 gift card once your review gets published. Right, so we also have exciting ebooks on our page, and all of these are free to download. So these are some of the ebooks that we currently have, and that includes how to keep your network safe from hackers, a basic guide, and all of that. So these are once again available for free. So in case you are interested to have a read at this ebook, let us know in the chat panel, or you can even directly Google Firewall Analyzer space ebooks, and the first search result that you get will take you directly to this website. And in addition to that, we also have a disclaimer about our security. So with respect to security, customer security, and customer data security, we from ManageEngine can assure you that we take these customer data and security as top priority, and we ensure that it stays protected at all costs. And in the next session, we're going to discuss in depth about VPN. And as a prelude to that, we have a couple of ebooks that I would like to share with you. So these are available on our website, and you can once again simply Google Firewall Analyzer space ebooks, and you will be taken to the website where you can download all of these information. So that marks the end of today's session. I hope you had a fruitful. So with that, we reached the end of today's session. I hope the session was fruitful.